What's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new story. Today we have a story of a crazy neighbor Karen that steals the subscriber's phone, and when the subscriber politely asks for his phone back, she calls the police on him. Yeah, that's going to be today's story. I know you'll enjoy it, as these crazy Karen stories are pretty good. So sit back, relax, subscribe if you're new, and let's jump right into it. So we're going to call the subscriber who submitted this story Jay. So anyways, Jay and his family have been living in this neighborhood for a while, and, their neighbors who've been living with them since Jay was a little kid are moving on to another neighborhood in, like, a different state or something. I think the parent got a job, and that was kind of tough for Jay because, like, the son who lived next door to him, Jay's immediate neighbor, was a pretty cool kid, and Jay and him have kind of, like, grew up together. And, yeah, it was kind of tough. They vowed to stay in touch, but you never know with, like, stuff like that if you actually will. Like, I know I had a really cool neighbor way back in the day, and she moved away, and we just haven't spoken to her since, as well as other neighbors that we really liked, and I've just not seen them since. But anyways, a new neighbor moves in, and Jay and Jay's parents decide, or at least Jay's parents tell Jay that, okay, Jay, later tonight we're going to go over and we're just going to say hello. We're going to ask if they need anything, and I'm going to bake some cookies today, and we're going to bring them over and give them to the new neighbors, whoever they are. Little did Jay and his parents know that it was not a normal family moving in. It was actually just one individual, right? And it was not a normal individual. It was a Karen. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, maybe the Karen, because, this Karen was like 40. I think she might have had a wife and kids, but we only interact with the Karen herself. I think that, like, the father's out and the kids are always at school or whatever. But anyways, moving in next door is a Karen. This is a horror story. There's a reason why I'm posting this in October, so close to Halloween, man. Because you know what? This is a Karen horror story, bro. So anyways, Jay's mom very nicely bakes a thing of cookies, and Jay and the entire family walk over. So they're walking over, and they see two cars in the driveway or whatever, and they walk up to the front porch, and they ring the bell. And they're kind of waiting there for a second. And, eventually they see someone, because, like, the door is closed, but the door is, like, kind of, like, it's, like, foggy glass, so you can't see in, but you can see kind of shapes and colors very faintly, and they saw a faint, like, figure get closer and closer, which basically meant someone was coming to the door. The door slams open, and they see this woman who's probably like 40, 50, I don't know, kind of in that range. She has the Karen haircut, right, where it's like really long on one side and short on the other, and it's all pushed to one side, right? She has on, like, the standard stereotypical Karen dress, bro. Like, they already knew that trouble was coming just by looking at her, right? And the Karen yells at them and says, "Who are you guys?" And, like, it was a little bit of an aggressive opener, but Jay's mom was like, I guess she was kind of thinking to herself, well, I mean, we didn't introduce ourselves yet, so I guess she's just a little, I don't know, this woman probably is just really stressed out from the moving process, probably stuff like that. I'm going to give her a break. And she's like, hey, we're your neighbors. We just wanted to come over to say, like, we wanted to ask, like, how you're doing. We wanted to introduce ourselves. And we also wanted to give you this thing of cookies. And Jay's mom extends, like, kind of like this little basket that has a thing of baked cookies. And, like, every normal person, including Jay's parents and Jay, would have assumed that that would have been enough to kind of calm the Karen down. That would have been enough to kind of stop any altercation from happening. But no, this Karen is a boss-level Karen. She is not your standard level 1 Karen. She is your boss, mafia boss level, like, she's the Ender Dragon Karen compared to your standard, I don't know, creeper or zombie Karen, bro. She is coming for your life. Because the Karen responds to this, the Karen responds to Jay's parents being very nice by saying, if you guys don't get off my property in the next 5 seconds, I will be calling the police. Yeah, let that sink in. Someone comes over to you, says, hey, I'm your neighbors. I wanted to know if you need anything. And also, I'm giving you a present of something that I made. And your response is, if you don't get off the property right now, I'm going to call the cops. Bro, something is seriously wrong with you, and you can't convince me otherwise. So, yeah, Jay's parents are a little bit, like, shaken up or taken back or whatever. And Jay's mom turns to Jay and says, all right, honey, let's go. And, yeah, that was very, very startling and disappointing. So they're walking back to the house. And Jay, Jay isn't like 8 or anything, but he's like, I don't know, in late middle school. He turns to his mom and is like, Mom, like, why did that lady react like that? And she's like, honey, I don't know. Like, not everyone is super nice. There are some people out there that are just, like, very bitter and I'm unhappy. And, maybe she's just had an incredibly stressful day moving in, and, maybe we'll try again at a later date, but I don't think we're going to be going back there anytime soon. So for all Jay knew, like, this was the end of his encounter with the Karen. But that is not the case. Not the case at all. Because every morning, pretty early in the morning, like about 6 a.m., and I know a lot of you guys wake up at 6 a.m. anyways to go to school. I know I used to have to wake up at 6:30 to go to school. Now I can barely wake up at 9:30 for my first class in college, bro. It's crazy how it just changes like that. When you're a little kid, you can wake up at 6, no problem. When you're in college, anything before 12 is like, bro, are you serious right now? Yeah, so Jay has to wake up at 6 in the morning to go walk his dog, so he's an early riser. So as every other day, Jay gets up. It's like a Tuesday or something, so it's a school day. He gets up at 6 a.m., or is kind of woken up by his dog, because his dog is kind of sleeps with him and kind of wakes him up anyways. He goes downstairs, put the harness on his dog, and they're walking outside. And Jay is walking down the path of his house, and that's when he notices movement in the backyard. So Jay, like, for a second is like, okay, this is a bear. So he very quickly, gets the dog and, like, puts the dog back inside. And Jay, like, slowly creeps outside. This was a bad idea. Jay's telling me to tell you guys because he submitted this story via Instagram. You guys can do the same. It's at connorpugs. It's in the description. Send me your stories. But Jay added a little note in the story he sent me saying, do not do this. Like, if you see a bear, go inside and protect yourself. Like, they're not going to try and harm you. But if it's a mama bear and there's a baby bear, she will go kaboom to your face. So just a warning. But anyways, Jay decided that he wanted to go and check it out. So he's sneaking around in the backyard trying to figure out where this big bear is, right? But Jay sees something much more startling, and some people might even say much more frightening. He sees the Karen wandering around, looking through his backyard, and, like, looking into the windows. Like, she's in the back of his house, like, looking at stuff, and, like, peeking into the windows of his house. And Jay is like, he says, hey, like, what are you doing here? And the Karen, like, very startled, looks up and is like, stop being aggressive. And, like, Jay's like, whoa. I'm just really confused why you're here. Like, you didn't seem very happy to see us yesterday, and now you're just wandering in our backyard. She's like, are you stalking me? And Jay's like, bro, am I stalking you? I mean, here's the thing. I was just walking my dog, and I thought I saw movement in the back. So I checked out the movement, and you're the one who's sneakily looking into our windows at 6 in the morning. Like, you tell me who's stalking who. And the Karen's like, I do not like that attitude, mister. I am your elder, and you shall respect me. And I don't like how aggressive you've been to me so far. Not Andrew, sorry. What's his name? Jay? Yeah, Jay's like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't think I've been that aggressive. Like, I've really just been, like, pretty respectful, especially for the fact since, you're the one, like, sneaking in my backyard. You're the one spying into my house. And that's when Jay kind of, like, let her hat it and be like, hey, like, when we came over yesterday, because at this point, like, Jay kind of caught her in a position of, like, spying on them. He's like, hey, when you came over yesterday, like, all we wanted to do was, like, oh, we're sorry if we startled you or something. But all we wanted to do was just say hello, ask if you needed anything, and give you a gift that we worked on today. And you said that you were going to call the police if we didn't go in the next 5 seconds. Like, that's pretty mad disrespectful. And then I find you... Yeah, low-key, Jay's going off. And he's like, and then I find you in my backyard? Like, that's crazy. And the Karen's like, don't have that tone with me, young man. You're lucky I'm not calling the police on you for being aggressive. and Jay's like, aggressive, bro? Like, what are you saying? What does that even mean? And the Karen starts walking away. She's like, you're lucky I don't say anything. So, yeah, anyways, Jay goes ahead and gets the dog from inside because the dog is safe. There's no There's no bear outside. There is a scary Karen, though. And if this was a different Karen, like in some of my other stories, she might have tried to steal, Jay's dog. But this is not a dog-stealing Karen. This is a phone-stealing Karen, as you'll see very soon. Anyways, after Jay walks his dog, his parents get up like 10, 15 minutes later. And Jay informs them what he saw. And, Jay's mom is like, kind of disturbed by this. She's like, that's really weird. Like, I understand it if this woman wants to explore the neighborhood as she just moved in. I think I'd probably do the same thing. But creeping in someone's lawn and peering into their windows is just a whole nother level. So yeah, they didn't really think this Karen was some, like, I don't know, some mastermind serial killer type person. They just thought that she was super, super nosy, like wanted to know everything about their neighbors, when the neighbors weren't even awake, peering into their house to get more information. However, like, that's fine if you want to look at someone's house from afar. However, sneaking around creepily in their backyard, that's just never okay under any circumstances, in my opinion. Yeah, but anyways, right, you know, Jay kind of thought that, okay, so the night before, or the day before, Jay was pretty sure that that was going to be his last Karen encounter. But now Jay kind of had a sneaking suspicion that he was going to have a lot of Karen encounters in his future. So skip ahead a couple days. It is a Friday. Actually, no, Saturday. It's a weekend. It is a Saturday. It is a Saturday afternoon. And, you know, Jay's parents ask him to water the plants in the front. So Jay very happily does it. But he also is like a little bit afraid of getting his phone wet because it's not one of the more waterproof iPhones or Androids or whatever. So he decides to put his phone down like on the driveway, and then he gets like the hose or whatever, starts watering the plants. He doesn't have any music in just because he doesn't have like headphones or he doesn't have wireless earbuds, AirPods, whatever you want to call them, right? So he can't really listen to music, which is actually super helpful to him because he can now hear his surroundings, which normally that wouldn't really matter, but when you're dealing with a crazy Karen, that always matters, bro. So anyways, right, you know, he's just watering the plants at this point, and he hears some rustling behind him, and he looks behind him, and he sees the tree moving, and the tree moved because the Karen pushed past it. And what did the Karen do? The Karen was in the process of bending over, picking up his phone. Real quick, if you made it this far into the video, do me a favor and comment Karen down below. That'll be the secret word of the day. I will try and heart a bunch of comments to say Karen. So if you want to farm some hearts and try and become top commenter on the channel, commenting Karen is one of the best ways to do it. And also one of the best ways to support the channel and help the channel grow, and I have been seeing you guys doing this and I really appreciate it, is literally just sitting down and binge watching old videos. Just like old stories on the channel that I posted earlier, right? A really easy way to do this is to watch my Storytime playlist, which has literally every story I've ever made. It is in the pinned comment down below, so after you're done watching this, if you want to put on the playlist while you're, I don't know, playing a video game, drawing, trying to go to sleep, make sure to go ahead and do that, and let me know in the comment section exactly what you're doing while listening to my stories. It's so cool for me to read exactly what you guys are doing while listening. So yeah, anyways, let's get back to the story. So right, just a little recap. Jay is watering his plants. He puts his phone down kind of far away, just so that he can like make sure he doesn't get his phone wet, because the last thing Jay wants is to have to like break his phone, or to break his phone and then have to go and replace it and then all that nonsense. Jay's just not trying to do any of that, right? So yeah, Jay turns around when he hears a noise to see that Karen is picking up his phone. And Jay, who turns off the water, is like, "What are you doing?" And the Karen looks at him, turns around, and starts running back to the house. I have running in quotation marks. This is not any like body shaming type thing, but the Karen was definitely not built like a track star. The Karen was not built like an Olympic athlete. The Karen was not the most athletic sprinter. She would definitely not do that well in a mile run. She might clock a 60 minutes in a mile. I really don't know. But yeah, so the Karen ran, or kind of fell forwards towards her house. But yeah, she was far enough away and she was close enough to the house that by the time that Jay kind of ran over to her, that Karen was able to slip into her house and close the door behind her. And Jay was standing on the thing and started ringing the doorbell. And the Karen's like, "Stop ringing my doorbell." And Jay's like, "Give me back my phone." And she says, "No." And Jay's like, "Why did you take my phone?" Because Jay was genuinely confused. Look, this woman obviously doesn't like him and his family that much. And she seems to be interested in them a little bit too much, but like, wouldn't she just want to like deal with her own stuff? Like, Jay could kind of understand, I don't know, snooping on them because she's a nosy neighbor, even though she went to a pretty big extreme, right? But Jay just can't understand why she'd want to steal his iPhone. Like, that literally makes no sense. So the Karen responds, "Well, I know that your parents aren't giving you proper discipline just by the way that you're always aggressive and hating on me and disrespecting me. So I decided that I needed to do that in my own hands." And Jay's like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, like, your parents don't give you proper punishments. They're letting you do anything and be a little criminal by harassing me. So I decided that I will be the one giving you the punishment by stealing your phone." And Jay is just like, at this point, bro, Jay is just trying to comprehend the Karen logic, because there is normal person logic and then Karen logic. Don't even try and follow Karen logic. It will actually scramble your brain if you even attempt to understand what a Karen is trying to say. That's just from personal experience. I want to save you guys the last remaining brain cells you have after watching my other Karen videos. So yeah, don't even try and attempt to figure out Karen logic. It will literally destroy. You will no longer have an internal monologue inside your brain. You will have just emptiness in there after you try and understand a Karen logic. Anyways, right? So at this point, Jay is kind of just like, okay, no, that's not how it works. Like, my parents are actually fairly strict, and my disrespecting you is simply telling you to, like, get off my property when you were snooping on it. And the Karen's like, exactly, get off my property. And, you know, at this point, Jay's like, not until you give me back my property. And that's when the Karen says, you know, if you don't get off my property right now, I've threatened to call the police before, and I will call them now. I actually wrote over to the office. I sent them an email saying that my neighbors were very threatening. So they're going to be here in literally 30 seconds if I want them to. And Jay's like, in his head, he's like, okay, that is definitely not true. Even if you did send in that email saying that we seem threatening, I can almost guarantee you that they're not going to be over here in a quote-unquote 30-second period. Like, okay, ma'am, calm down, relax. That's not true. Yeah, but anyways, right, so Jay's like, all right, well, when they come over here, I will tell them that you took my property. And the Karen's like starts laughing, and I'm not even trying to do a Karen laugh. It's late at night. I'm tired. I don't even want to put myself through it, bro. But just imagine a very cringy, awkward Karen laugh. And then she follows it up by saying, you don't understand. You're breaking the law by being on my property, and I'm not breaking any law. I'm literally I'm issuing a punishment to a minor who is disrespecting an elder. And at this point, like, Jay's like, wait, bro, what? Like, you don't understand that, like, you have my property. And she says, yeah, but it's the form of punishment, and that's totally okay under the law. Citizens arrest on your iPhone. And Jay's like, bro, I'm like in 8th grade, and even I know that this is ridiculous, right? You can't perform first of all, citizens arrest is not really a real thing. I don't know if it's actually a real thing, guys. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. But bro, if anyone tries to citizens arrest me, I'm just going to walk away and hope that they, like, I don't know, run out of breath trying to, like, wobble towards me. But yeah, imagine like thinking that citizens arrest is real, and also thinking that you can citizens arrest someone's property. So yeah, can I just citizens arrest all the money out of your bank account and then just not give it back? Hold it all up in litigation in the court system? Like, what are we talking about right now, Karen? So at this point, Jay says, fine, you know what? That's not true, but fine. Go ahead and call the police. So the Karen, once again, does her, like, cringy, evil Karen laugh, and is like, you will see who is actually right here. I don't know why the Karen was so confident that she could just steal someone's iPhone and not have to worry about it. But yeah, anyway, she calls up the police, and in about, like, 20 minutes, right, they come. Because they probably put her on a list of, like, probably, like, the former police department of wherever she used to live sent a record to, like, the new police department saying this woman has called in 100,000 times, saying that the corgi next door is trying to assassinate her, saying that the woman down the street has plots to, like, I don't know, eat her children, bro. Like, don't listen to her. Like, this is, like, the number one Karen. Just show up an hour late or something. I don't know. So, yeah, the police officers eventually show up, and the Karen immediately starts screaming at them, saying, you guys are 20 minutes late. I expected you to be here in 30 seconds. This young man is harassing me on my own property. And the police officers turn to Jay and is like, is this true? Like, what's your side of the story? And Jay says, okay, so this woman doesn't like us that much. Like, we caught her also earlier today, like earlier this week, snooping around on our property, looking into our windows. We don't really care, but I mean, it's not that cool to do it. But what happened today was I was watering my plants. I put my phone down, and the Karen over here, or says her name, or like this woman over here, walked over and stole my iPhone and ran into her house. She currently has my iPhone in there. Like, I ran up here to try and reason with her, and she said that, like, she can steal my iPhone because it is issuing a form of punishment to me, but that I can't be on her lawn because I'm, like, trespassing, and it's her property, and that she's performing citizen's arrest on my iPhone. And the police officers kind of look at each other like, citizen's arrest on her iPhone? What? Right? They're kind of just looking at each other like, dude, what is going on right now? So they look at they look towards the Karen, right? Because the Karen is behind this like glass, but you can hear her pretty well. They're like, ma'am, can you step out here for a second? And she's like, so I can witness you give punishment to this kid? Absolutely. She opens up the door, walks through, and she's like, show officers. What's the punishment? The chair? Okay, she doesn't actually say, is this kid getting the chair for disrespecting my authority, right? She's like, all right. So she kind of like walks out all excited to see this kid, quote unquote, get punished. But the truth is really she's just about to play herself. Because the officers, instead of turning to the kid and saying, all right, well, we're going to sentence you to death. Instead, right, the officers look at the Karen and just ask her, do you have this kid's phone? Did you take it from him? And like at this point, Jay was kind of expecting that the Karen was going to be like, no, he's making that up. And also, you can't search my house without a warrant. Basically being like hiding his phone inside or something. But instead, I think the Karen was like so like ridiculous that she actually believed that she could issue punishment to this kid. Like that she could actually be the one who could be like punishing this kid by taking his phone. So she's like, yes, in fact, I took his phone because, you know, he deserved the punishment. Like, I'm sure you're off. She's like, I'm sure you guys can understand. And once again, the officers look at each other and, like, raise an eyebrow to each other, like kind of like the Rock meme where it's like, and he's, like, raises up his eyebrow. And then they turn back to the Karen. They're like, ma'am, you can't take someone's property. And she's like, well, I mean, normally, you know, but what you guys don't understand is that I was issuing a punishment to this kid. You don't understand. This kid is the worst, and he deserves to be punished. And once again, the officers look at each other and are kind of just thinking to themselves, like, oh my God, okay, we actually have to deal with this today. Like, are you serious right now, bro? Like, are you serious, bro? Really? 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 Is this what we're doing? Is this our lives right now? Is this what we signed up for? Dealing with, like, old women that are just trying to, like, accuse everyone of everything, always, forever. Like, bro, are you serious? But anyways, they're like, ma'am, please give back the phone. And she's like, no. And they're like, ma'am, well, will you at least give the phone to us? And she's like, sure. Because I think that Karen believed that, like, these, like, police officers were going to, I don't know, take the phone and, like, take out their guns and, like, shoot the phone into 1,000 pieces and be like, that's what you get for disrespecting your elders, kid. And then Jay was going to go home crying and then come back the next day with a basket of flowers being like, Miss Karen, I'll never disrespect you again. I'll do anything you say. Let me kiss your feet. But what actually happened with the officers, immediately as they got the phone, they handed it back to Jay. And the Karen's like, what are you doing right now? This is treasonous, which is just not the definition of treason, but I'm not even going into that right now. And yeah, the officers are like, ma'am, you have no right to take any of his stuff. He doesn't have any right to take any of your stuff either. But yeah, it goes both ways. Like, can you please not call back if it's something like this? And she's like, not call back? I feel threatened by the fact that he's here. And they're like, ma'am, he was here because you took something of his. And she's like, well, I was just issuing a punishment. And they're like, ma'am, we've already gone over this. You know what? We wasted enough time. You know, there might actually be people out there that need us. And because we had to come out here, you know, the offices are like, their resources are depleted. Like, you know, this is kind of ridiculous. Please call back only if it's something important. Goodbye. And they get in their car and they drive away. And as Jay's walking back to his house, the Karen is yelling at him like, you won't get away with this. You don't know. I have friends in powerful places. Which, what is that, bro? What does that even mean? I have friends in powerful places. Ma'am, you just moved here, bro. Like, what do you mean? Are you like the CEO of the world? Like, president of Earth is going to come and smite him or drone strike him, bro? Like, what? Yeah, so Jay kind of turns around and is like, okay, haha, whatever. And yeah, for the rest of the, because like this happened all a year ago, for the last year ever since then, Jay has had like minor issues, but nothing big enough to put into a story. However, Jay said he will DM me if the Karen does anything crazy again.